my name is Dr. Kenneth R. Green, Senior Pastor of the M.E.T.R.O Christ Church in Cedar Hill, Texas, the church where no one is left out. I just want to share with you what our theme is for 2013. And then I'll share with you where we developed that theme from biblically. I do believe God is up to something in and among the ordinary people of our neighborhoods, communities, and in our churches. It is about a movement of the Spirit and how we biblically might join with what God is up to out there ahead of us and in our communities. As you know, congregations are in the midst of huge changes these days. Significant shifts in the culture are challenging many of our taken for granted ways of doing church. This year, our congregation will look at what these changes mean for church leadership, both clergy and lay teams, and provide practical ways in which we can learn to thrive as we engage with our communities to fulfill the Great Commission of God. We develop our theme from the number 13. The number 13 is a powerful blessing from God. The number 13 is not an even number as the devil has gotten us to believe, but rather it is a number of great promise and blessing. The number 13 is a number of great blessings given by God. Recapping the story of Abraham, we all know how God came to Abraham and said that he would make him the father of many nations as well as becoming the father of our faith. Well, God promised Abraham that he would have a child, and from that child's lineage would come kings and rulers of many nations, as well as the Messiah, the seed to come, Genesis chapter 16 through 17. You remember Abraham and his wife Sarah were childless, and in old age at the time God gave them a promise. And through their many years of frustration of being childless, they tried to help things along by having a child through Sarah's slave girl Hagar. And through this act, their son Ishmael was born. Well, if you remember, at age 86, Abraham and Sarah tried to bring about God's promise, tried to help God out. Have you ever done that? Well, at 99, God's promise came true. 13 years it was between the promise given and the promise manifest. Therefore, 99 minus 86 equals 13. This is the number 13. It is promise. It is promise. Have you ever noticed that the number 13 promise is always presented in unfavorable circumstances, though in time the circumstances will give way to the birth of the new promise. Let me say it again. The number 13 promise is always presented in the presence of unfavorable circumstances, though in time the circumstances will give way to the birth of a new promise. If you remember in John 5, verses 17 through 20, Jesus says, my Father is always at his work, even to this day, and the Son does what he sees his Father does. That's the kind of heart that we want to have at the M.E.T.R.O Christ Church in Cedar Hill, Texas. We want to have that kind of heart to where God nurture our hearts as we walk through faith, guided by the Holy Spirit, that we can see where God is working and work where God is working, because when God does his work, God cannot fail. Whatever God is doing, it will be successful. So I'm going to ask you again, God is up to something. What are you waiting for?
Let's make this declaration